Hello and welcome to our very first JavaScript tutorial. Here on Mozilla Developer Network, we have the definition of JavaScript, also known as MDN. JavaScript is a lightweight, interpreted, or just-in-time compiled programming language with first-class functions. Just-in-time compiled means that it is compiled very fast and the output of whatever you are doing happens just in time, which is very fast. JavaScript is most well known as scripting language for web pages. It also has other uses. We can see Node.js and a lot of other stuff there. I'm only showing these so that you can always check it later and then reference to it and read other stuff there. There's a lot to read, especially as we progress on these topics on JavaScript. And now for the tools required to get started with this, we have Visual Studio Code. So you go to code.visualstudio.com/download. You can see that in the address bar like I just clicked. Now we have download for Windows, we have Linux, we have Macs. There's download for every of them. The next thing we want to do is start writing our code. Now let's go ahead and open Visual Studio Code and start writing JavaScript. Welcome back everyone. This Friday is an empty instance of Visual Studio Code. The next thing we want to do is go up here, click File, click Ctrl-K or open folder. Now we have to go deep to look for the file we're looking for. I'm going to go straight to Documents, then Tutorials, and then I'll click JavaScript and then Lesson 01. Now you want to arrange your folder in a similar fashion, in the way that you would have JavaScript as a folder, then you would have lesson 01, lesson 02, and the rest like that, so that you do not have files from different lessons in the same place. Now you select folder, and now we have our empty lesson 01 right here. The first thing we want to do is create an HTML file. So I'm going to type index.html, and as we probably already know, HTML is the building block of the web. Without HTML, there will be no web. Now this is an Emmet abbreviation. You put an exclamation mark and just click enter, and we have a simple skeleton for HTML already. This is available in Visual Studio Code. I'm going to type the title of this lesson, which will be lesson 1, ONE1. Now we're going to type simple hello world so that we can confirm that whatever we are working on is actually working. Next thing we are going to need is an extension. Just click Ctrl+Shift+X or go to the icon I just clicked, search for live server. There is one by Ritwik Day. Look at that author very well, Ritwik Day. Now you can click that and then click install. You'll be able to install it very easily, and then from there we want to go live. We want to start viewing our site locally. Okay, now I'll just click go live so that we can view our code in the browser. Now I'll minimize that too so that we can see both side by side. Now I'm going to type something else so that we can see how fast this thing actually reloads. Hello world, and boom, you click Ctrl+S and it reloads instantaneously. Next thing we want to do is create a JavaScript file. So index.js, you click that icon and do index.js, then click enter. Now to actually get started, there are three main types of data in JavaScript. We have strings, we have numbers, and we have booleans. I'm going to write that down while I explain. For strings are basically words. They can be written inside of quotes, like double quotes that I like just typed, or single quotes like I just typed. Now the next thing I want to do is try to show you how it can be done in the browser. So I opened this console by right clicking. I'll show you now. Right click, click inspect, and then click console, or you can just click Ctrl Shift and I at the same time. It will open it up like I just did. So that's a quote, Henry, with single quotes. That's a string, as you can see, and then Henry in double quotes. You can see there are no differences, except when there are differences, of course. By that I mean, just imagine you were to type this, it's me, in a quote. I've added single quotes, it's me. Now the apostrophe there is ending. It's there. You can you see it's having an error. That apostrophe is ending the quote too early, and JavaScript thinks we want to end our string right there where the apostrophe is. So what you do in this case is you use double quotes to encase everything. So we use double quotes, and then when you type the apostrophe would not matter. Only a double quote would be able to end it. So from what you have seen now, you can realize that a double quote would hold a single quote inside of it. And then there might be times where you would need to use, rare times actually, where you would need to use the double quotes. Now, to be able to use the double quotes or any number of quotes, in fact, that's where the backtick comes in. That slanted apostrophe sort of, you can put in any number, any amount of quotes you want. The double quotes, the single quotes, they all fit into backtick, the backticks. So about number is just numbers, 4, 5, yeah, and then about boolean, it's true or false. Those are the only two values. Numbers can be as many as possible, a number can be anything. So the next thing I want to teach is how to recognize data type. So there's this thing called type of. You just type it, typeof, then you put any value in front of it. So let's say type of 4, it returns number. Let's type something else, type of, let me say true. Okay, that's undefined because it is not inside of a string. You just type anything like that. So type of, if you put it inside quotes, me, it says string. Now if we want to figure out another type of, you can just say type of true, it will return boolean. Can we see that? So that's how the type of works. Now let's actually start writing some code. So writing inside a JavaScript file is sort of like writing inside a console, but from a file instead. You see, that's cool. Like, that's even easier. That's kind of faster and easier. So the first thing I want to learn is how to write to the console. It's just console.log. Then you type it there, hi. Now you are wondering, why is it not showing up? Well, that's because it's not linked to our HTML. So I'm going to link it to the HTML now, and then type in script, that's the script tag, and then write source equal to index.js. Yeah, sorry about that, index.js. That's it. And then let's remember to put, can you see I is showing up there? So put an attribute defer. Defer will let the script wait until the elements have been shown up on the web page before they start running. Now the next thing we want to do is write a script straight inside our HTML. So we're going to write a script tag and then write whatever JavaScript we want to write in there. So I'll just say console.log hello. Can you see the hello? Now the other script is no longer connected. So I'm just going to bring it back, and then we have our hi back, which is from that file, which will let you know that everything we are writing here, you can just straight up copy everything and paste it in the script tag, and it will all work fine. So now we can say type of hi, which will just give us string like we previously did. So you save and then you can see string in there. So I'm going to copy both of them down and then change this one to a number and the next one a boolean and the last one a boolean, and then let's say true. Okay, so we can see string, number, and boolean. I want to believe we all understand all of these data types now. We have string, number, and then boolean. And now the next thing we'll be doing is how to interact with users. We've already talked about console log in order to log things to the console. Now I'll just copy it down to duplicate it in order to log both the data and the types of the data. That's 6 logs. So can you see them? I selected all of the type ofs, and then now I'm leaving a space between both of them. So let's just write the title up there, which is data values, as a comment once again, and then the other one would be data types. Like I previously mentioned, time to talk about ways to interact with our users. And one of those ways is the alert, ALERT. And then I'm like, okay, I love JavaScript. What's going to happen? It's going to send an alert to the web page, like a message in a box. Can we see that? I love JavaScript. Now the next one we want to try out is and input, yeah. Then I say, oh sorry, not input, prompt. I said input because I was working in Python just now, and that's what Python does, input for something similar. Okay, so prompt, do you love JavaScript? Do you love JavaScript? Prompt is going to ask you if, okay, yeah, do you love JavaScript? So you can type yes, no, okay, you can really type anything in there for now. Now the next one is a confirm prompt. You could type anything inside. For a confirm, it's a yes or no. You're like okay or cancel. So I'm just going to type in, do you love JavaScript in there? Oops, one quote is missing there. Okay, that's the alert, the prompt, and now the confirm. You either say okay or you say cancel. So now regarding on what they return, an alert just returns a message. Like I said, a prompt will return a string, a string that you have written there. So I'm going to type another comment in front of there. So I'm just going to say alert returns a simple message, while prompt returns a string, and input, like whatever you have entered, a string. That's what it returns. And then confirm returns a boolean, either true or false. Now that you have seen all of those in action, those are the most three basic things you really need in JavaScript. One of the basic things. Okay, now there is the next thing we will be doing, that's saving these data types in variables, in variables. Okay, so three keywords for assigning variables in JavaScript: we have const, we have let, and we have var. We will not be using var because it's outdated, so I'm going to say const name equal to Henry. When you use const, it means what you have written is constant. You do not intend to change it later. So the next thing we might want to do is consider something like age. Let age equal to, I don't know, 30. Now, when I say let age equal to 30, that's a number. Name is a string. Now, age can be reassigned later, which means you can change the value, but you cannot change the value of name. Let's try changing the value of age now. I'm going to say age equal to 40. That's, let's say, 10 years later, right? Someone that was 30 would be 40. Now, let's try changing name. Let's reassign it and see what happens. Name equal to n. All right. Can we see what's happening? It's saying name is deprecated. Okay, that's an issue. We need to change the word, the variable name. Name is a keyword in JavaScript. We don't want to do that. Change it to my name. And now we can see the error. Cannot assign a const variable. You cannot reassign any variable that you have set const originally. It will always stay as it is. So let is flexible and const is not. Now what we want to do is log everything we have written. So we'll log my name right under its initialization, console.log my name. Next thing we'll log is the age right after we have said let age be 30. So console.log age. Now the next thing we'll do is log age after we have equalized it to be 40. Good. The next thing we'll be doing after this is arithmetic. First, let's look into console and see what we have there. So I'm going to type here arithmetic real quick, and then we're going to check the console. So I want to comment out all of this so that they will not be disturbing, because I have to press OK and maybe cancel all the time. Good. So I just reloaded and we have my name. My name is Henry, a string. That's after I console logged it. You can see the log right there on there. Then the next thing I did is to log the age, and we can see 30 right there. Sorry about that. And we can see 30 right there, and then we can see the last one. We console logged age, and then it gave 40. And as you probably suspected, my name has not changed, which means no matter where we log it again, it will always say Henry, like that, Henry. Good. We can also log type of variables. So we can say type of my name, and we're going to have string. You can log type of any of other variables. I'll give that to you to do yourself. You would see number, string, and so on. So different types of data types in JavaScript, they perform arithmetics in different ways, especially addition. Now we're adding a string that says 2. That is not a number, that's a string. We are putting 2 inside of it, and I'm going to add a number 2. So we want to log that into the console. Okay, sorry about that. I'll just put it in brackets and then write console.log in front of it, or if that's behind, I don't know. So we have 22. It does not add it together like we add 2 plus 2. It joins them together, like put them side by side. This is sort of the same way you would write something like to name. So if I were to change that other 2, that is a number, into a string that says name, it's going to say to name. I'm putting a space first so that it can put a space between both of them, or 2 bonds. Yeah, that's something you should be careful when using strings and numbers. Now, one thing we want to do is actually do arithmetic the way it should be done. So we're going to say 2 plus 2, like actual 2 as a number plus 2. We should have 4 there. So I'm going to copy this down a few times and keep changing the sign. So there we have 2 multiplied by 2. That would also be 4. And then the next one we would have, okay, so that would be minus sign, that should be 0, and then that would be division, that's the forward slash, and then the next one would be 2 asterisks, like the multiplication, but instead this time that's power. It stands for power, so 10 raised to the power of 2, that's 100. Now the next thing we'll work on is something called modulus. Okay, for modulus we divide something and then the remainder is what it returns. So we use the percentage sign, another percentage sign. So I'm going to say 3, then percentage, and then 2. So 3 divided by 2 is 1, then remainder 1. So if I save, we're going to get the remainder in the console. That's 1. So if you keep changing it, let's say 7, it will still give a remainder of 1. So if I put something like 8, it's going to give a remainder of 0, because 8 divided by 2 is 4 with no remainder. So that's just the way it was, and now I'm going to leave 2 comments. I'm going to leave that as 7. So I'm going to leave comments, exponentiation, and modulus. That's the way it is. So the next thing we're going to work on are operators. Okay, now we have 2 variables, number and string. They both hold the value 2. The only difference is the type of the value. One is a string and one is a number. Okay, sorry about that. We want to console log number is equal to string. You see, the equal to is not just 1, it is 2. So that's not assignment, that's comparison. And now it says true in the console. That's because both number and string have the same value, which is 2. But the issue here is, the tiny thing here is, their value types are different, right? Number and string. But because we have the same value in there, it is still the same comparison. So now we want to use the same thing again, but this time we're adding 3 equal to signs. Now this is a strict comparison. I call it a strict comparison because this will check data types. So if the data types are not the same, it will be false in this case. So this will check everything. Now we are checking if number is equal to 2. It says true. Why? Because both number and 2 have the same value. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying there. So strict comparison will check both value type and data type, while ordinary comparison will check just the value. Okay, now we are talking about a different type of comparison, which is negative comparison. I'm going to copy what we already have up there and then paste it down. I'm going to change the first equal to sign into an exclamation mark. I'm going to do the same for the second line, which is the strict comparison. I'll copy and then paste down there, remove the first equal to sign and change it to an exclamation mark. So for the first one, we're checking if number is not equal to string. That's what the exclamation mark means, not then equal to. So this is a simple comparison, not a strict comparison. And now it means we are checking if number is not equal to string in a simple comparison. And if we say number is not equal to string, that's a false statement because it is equal as far as the comparison is not strict. But then in a strict comparison, when you say number is not equal to string, that's actually a correct statement. It's a It's in fact a correct statement. It is a true statement. So if we save now, we say that the first one is false and the other one is true. Now I'll take it over from the top again. The first one, number is equal to string. This is a simple comparison. It does not enforce types. In that case, they are. In the other one, it enforces types. And one is a string, one is not a string. They are both true. So it is not. And then the other one is simply a shadow of the first one. It's saying 2 is not equal to 2, which is a false statement. But then on the third, on the very last one, and the very last one, it's an opposite of the second one, because it's saying number is not equal to string, and our number here is 2, our string here is 2, but it is true, they are not equal. The reason they are not equal is simply because their types are different. So next thing we want to talk about is concatenation versus interpolation. Make sure to visit operators again, it can be a bit confusing. I'm going to comment out all of these console logs because they are making my code a bit messy. So when I comment them out, it will not log anything to the console again. Remember, comments will not affect your code. So I'll select everything and I just press Ctrl slash, yes, Ctrl slash, the forward slash, and it will comment everything out for you. Okay, let me quickly do the same with comparison. It says C is not defined. Okay, yeah, we wrote C there. You are not supposed to have a const there. Remember, we have my name as Henry and age as 40. Remember, age was 30 at first and now it's 40. The console log should be age, not 40, the value. So I'll change that and we can see in the console 40. So I'm going to comment it out too. I don't want anything in the console. So let's start with concatenation. Concatenation is a simple addition of strings, like we previously did with 2 plus 2 there. I'll be 2 plus that string, yeah. Number plus string, and that gave us 22. Basically just add every string we want to add. We add everything together, especially when we want to use variable names. We'll just write the name of the variable there. So we want to write a result now using concatenation, but I think we should use something like concat sentence or something. So in JavaScript we use something called camel case. That's the naming convention. When you write the first word, you start it with a small letter, but then when you start the second word, that S, can you see that S is starting with a capital letter to show that you are starting a new word. So if I were to write a very long variable name, it would keep having capital letters at the beginning of every new word, like concat sentence does at S. So let's actually write a concatenated sentence. I'm going to leave quotes there and then I'll say hi with a capital H, comma, okay. I'm going to continue plus, then I'm going to write the name of that variable, my name. You will not put it in quotes because it's a variable. It holds a value. You are not writing the value, you are writing the variable name. So JavaScript will understand that you are trying to invoke that one. So I'm going to plus it with something else again. You are okay. There's supposed to be a space before, so that my name and you will not join together. You put a space before you and also a space after the word hi. If you look at very well, you should understand a bit. So there should be a space before my name and a space after the word my name. So we'll continue. You are okay. We are supposed to write a plus before age. Remember, age now holds the value 40. You are age, then I'm going to say years old. Yes. And now there's an issue with space again, but I'm going to wait that out and then we'll see it later. When we save, we'll see the issue. Okay, we want to console.log concat sentence. Alright, let's save. Can you see you are 40 years old? Can you see how you are 40 years old? Can you see how age, the 40 joins with everything? So you're supposed to leave a space before age and after age inside of the quotes that come before and after it. To use interpolation for this exact same thing, I'm just going to say const interpolate sentence equal to, and now this is where we use backticks. If you don't know what backticks are, just search them up on Google. BACKTICKS. So we want to start, we write the normal words as they are, Then when we get to the part where we have to write variable names, that's where it changes things up a bit. We start with a dollar sign and then curly braces. Yeah, those braces, those curly braces, and then we just write the name of the variable in there. Then we still continue writing our string like the way you would write it normally until you get to another variable name. So the only two variable names we have here are my name and age, remember. So we're writing the exact same thing back, but in that manner. Can you see? It's straightforward, neater, but the variable names are inside of curly braces that are started with dollar signs. So I'm going to explain that a bit again. Every variable name will be in curly braces with dollar sign behind them. So I'm going to add another another thing there. We want to add my number is. We're going to do the exact same thing again, num, because we're invoking a variable name. Can you see? We want to console log interpolate sentence, and it's going to be a bit different. It's going to be the same thing except we're adding my number is to. Can you see? It's quite nice, isn't it? Whenever you have to make complicated things in JavaScript, you might have to choose between concatenations or interpolation. So you do whichever one is best for you. So we want to comment out both of them again, both console logs, so that it does not disturb us as we go on. Now let's apply everything we have learned in this chapter and make a mini profile project. First thing we'll do is combine things like impute or confirm in and variables. We'll combine input and confirm into a variable. By input I mean prompt. Sorry, I keep saying input. So I'm going to say const. Now looking up at those two lets, I don't see any reason they should be let. It's okay as const. I try to use const as much as possible. So I'm going to go back down there to the mini profile project and say const name, and the name will be equal to an input and a prompt. Then I'm going to say what's your name. So whatever the user enters will be the value of name. So similarly we'll have const age equal to a prompt what's your age. You can probably see there's an error with that. So we're going to change that variable name to your name, your, and then a capital N, like camel case, and then your age too, because of the same issue we had with name. Then name is a reserved keyword in JavaScript. Okay, so now we want a boolean. I'll say const js equal to confirm. Remember, confirm returns a boolean, a true or false. So I'm going to say do you love JavaScript? As simple as that. So if you press OK, it's going to return true. If you press cancel, it's going to show false. So I'll continue. We want to use an alert to show everything we have done. So we use both interpolation and concatenation. So for interpolation first, so I'm going to save our result in a variable named result. So const result equal to a string. Say hello there, comma, your name is, then a space, and then we'll add with it your name as a variable. Then we'll continue. Instead of a comma outside, you remember commas has to be inside a string or something. Yeah, we'll put a comma there, then we'll continue. You are, we'll leave a space and then a plus. We'll add your age with it because it will show the age the user has entered. Your age, years old. Okay, now we want to continue with the last part, which is that do you love JS? It's going to return a true or false. So we are not supposed to add a plus yet. We can still continue our sentence inside that same quote that was there before. We can just continue. Do you love JavaScript? We'll be like, okay, love JavaScript, then a question mark, and then at the end we can add that variable JS, which will be either true or false depending on what you entered. Now we console log that result, and then we try to work with interpolation. The first one we did was concatenation. So I'm going to say result 2 equal to, we start with backticks again. Remember how concatenation works. Now I'll just copy what we have here, and yeah, and continue there. So I'm going to remove the quotes and use backticks instead. Now it seems okay at first. Then I'm going to remove all of the quotes and plus sign symbols that are inside. Yes, also the quotes have been removed. Okay, let's pick the quotes one by one. I used Ctrl D to do that, and that's the last quote, I think. Okay, so let's select all variable names and change them into variables. You know, the way we use curly braces and the dollar sign. So I'm going to do the same thing here, dollar sign. Okay, and then the last part, that's the JS, same thing. I'm going to type JS in there, so that should work normally like the previous one. So you can see VS Code is helping me to format this, and then you can see my my concatenation going on different lines. So let's console.log result 2 also. I'll Control S to save and restart live server by closing the tab and pressing that place to stop it and then go live again. The reason I did that is because there were so many of these stuffs on the page already and it was affecting. Okay, so I'm going to inspect. It says console is not a function. Oh, I didn't console.log, I said console. So you console.log. Okay, let's continue. Henry as a name. Okay, age. Okay, 2. Do you love JavaScript? Okay, all right. Can you see that both of them logged? The first one is the concatenation, the second one is the interpolation. Look at those two differently constructed codes and they output the exact same thing. I'm going to change both logs to an alert, ALERT, and then so we are going to get our answer in an alert box instead. So let's do that again and see. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, can you see? Hello there, your name is Henry. Right guys, there's something I forgot to mention under comparison. Yeah, so let's quickly uncomment everything there. That's in the operators. We have done comparison, we have done strict comparison. Now we want, we have checked whether they are equal. Now we want to check, using inequalities, greater than, less than, stuff like that. So we have number is greater than string. Now in this case, JavaScript will forcefully turn it into both of them into numbers, which will be checking if number is greater than string. So I copied it down 4 times to change the signs. The second one will be less than, so number is less than string. The third one will be greater than or equal to, just a greater than sign and then an equal to sign in front. The fourth one will be less than or equal to. Yeah, so the first one, now if you look at it, number is greater than string. No, 2 is not greater than 2. Number is less than string. No, 2 is not less than 2. But the third one says number is less than or equal to string. Yes, it is less than or equal to because it is equal to. That's what return true. So the first two will return true, will return false, sorry, because it's not greater or less than. But the last two will return true because it is greater than or equal to, which means it is equal to. Less than or equal to, it will be true because it is equal to. So I'm going to stop that and quickly remove some things because it's disturbing my code. So I'm going to comment some things out, like starting from the alert, all of that block of code. I'll comment it out. Also the result there, I'll comment it out, and then go back here. It has removed everything from the web page. That's good. Okay. So in the console, oh, there's an error. Oh, your name is not defined. I've found it. I did not comment the last line out. Okay, good. So there, well, false, true. Like I said, the first one is false because number is not greater than string. Second one is false because number is not less than string. Yeah, first one, second one, yes. So the third one, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, it still has the equal to in there, which is showing that if they are equal, okay, say true. If it is greater than, say true, but it will pick one at least of both of them. So it is great, it is equal, so that's true. Now we've talked about a lot, from values to value types to variables to operators to arithmetic to interpolation and concatenation. We have talked about a lot to display in data and things like that. Now, about everything that has been learnt, it's alright if everything is not understood at once. If you keep revisiting and you keep practicing, it will get better and you understand it better. I hope this class was enjoyable. See you in the next one.